You're paying for everyone's meal. You got that promotion, right? My sister announced it at a $440 per person restaurant. She didn't ask. She announced it. Like I'd already agreed to drop $6,000 on people who'd spent a decade calling me a nobody. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, staring straight ahead. My husband's hand slid over mine under the table. Our two kids stopped eating their $38 mac and cheese and looked up, sensing the shift. I didn't agree to anything, I said quietly. Stop being difficult, my dad muttered, not even looking up from his $85 steak. I smiled. Set my fork down. Excuse me, I said calmly. I need to use the restroom. On my way past the maitre d', I pulled out my card. And paid only for 4 meals. Mine, my husband's, our daughters, our sons. $1,760. Then I collected my family and walked out. When the server brought the remaining $6,380 bill to their table, I was already pulling out of the parking lot. My phone started ringing 30 seconds later. I didn't answer. My name is Marissa Davidson. I'm 38 years old, and I work as a mechanic. Most people in my family think I'm barely scraping by. What they don't know is that I own Davidson's Auto Repair, and 3 other locations. Last year, my shops cleared $3.2 million in revenue. I personally take home around $480,000 a year. But sure, let's pretend I got a promotion. 3 weeks earlier, my sister Rachel had called while I was elbow deep in a transmission. Dad's turning 65, she said. We're doing dinner. Stellino's. Saturday the 18th. You'll be there. Not an invitation. A summons. How many people? I asked. Just family. Maybe 15. I agreed because I love my father. He worked his entire life as a union electrician. The fact that he'd always favored my older brother, Mitchell, wasn't entirely his fault. College son equaled success. Mechanic daughter equaled disappointment. Mitchell was the golden child. Stanford MBA. Corporate job in Seattle. $180,000 a year. And he never let anyone forget it. Rachel was worse. Married a dentist. Lived in a McMansion. Leased BMW. She loved dropping comments like, maybe I can help you find something better suited to your skill set. The condescension was constant. I was the baby. The one who didn't go to college. The one who came home with grease under her nails. The one my dad looked at with quiet disappointment every time Mitchell's name came up. What they didn't know. At 18, I started at Jerry's auto shop for minimum wage. At 22, Jerry's sold me the business. At 30, I had 3 locations. By 35, 4. I never told my family. Why bother? They'd already decided who I was. Showing up with financial statements wouldn't change the narrative. It would just make them resentful. Or start asking for money. So I kept quiet. Drove my 10-year-old F-150. Wore work clothes to family events. Let them believe whatever made them comfortable. The dinner was supposed to be just family. So I was surprised when my husband and I walked in and counted 12 people. Rachel's entire in-law family was there. Parents. Cousins. People I'd met twice. Surprise. Rachel beamed. I thought it would be nice to make it a real celebration. Translation. Rachel wanted to perform. Mitchell arrived late, of course. Designer suit. Expensive watch. Seattle arrogance intact. Dad sat at the head of the table looking uncomfortable. He wasn't a fancy restaurant guy. But Rachel insisted. And Mom had passed 3 years earlier. There was no one left to tell Rachel no. The night started fine. Cocktails. Small talk. Ridiculous prices. Tiny pasta with truffle oil for $75. 8-ounce steak for $110. Dessert ordered early because it required advance notice. Then Rachel stood, clinked her glass. Before dessert, she said, smiling, I want a toast. She praised Dad, thanked Mitchell for flying in, then turned to me. And Marissa, she said sweetly, I heard you finally got that promotion. Congratulations. So tonight's dinner is on you. The table erupted in applause. I sat perfectly still. My husband's hand tightened around mine. I didn't get a promotion, I said clearly. And I didn't agree to pay. Rachel laughed. Oh, Marissa. Don't be modest. Family takes care of family. Dad muttered, your mother would have wanted this. That's when I knew. This wasn't about celebrating Dad. This was about using me. And I wasn't going to play my part anymore. There it was. My mother's memory, used like a lever. 12 people stared at me. Strangers. People who had never asked how I was doing. Never cared what my life looked like. But they were more than happy to eat $110 steaks on my supposed promotion. I smiled. Excuse me, I said evenly. I need to use the restroom. My husband stood with me. Kids, he said quietly, already understanding. Grab your jackets. Marissa, Rachel started. Restroom, I repeated. I'll be right back. I walked straight to the maitre d's podium. I need to split a check, I said calmly. Of course, ma'am. The Davidson party? Yes. I'm paying for 4 meals. Myself. My husband. And our 2 children. She tapped the screen. That will be $1,760, including tax and service. Perfect. I opened my wallet. Not the beat-up one I carried to family dinners. The slim metal one. With the black card. The maitre d's eyes flicked up, just for a second. Very good, ma'am. And the remaining meals? They'll handle that themselves, I said. Please bring their check after dessert. Understood. Add 25% gratuity to my portion. Yes, ma'am. The transaction completed. I thanked her, collected my family, and walked out. It was 8:47 p.m. Cool October air. Clear sky. My husband looked at me as we crossed the parking lot. You actually did it. They shouldn't have assumed. What do you think they'll do? Call Mitchell, I said. Eventually someone pays. Not us. Jake, who was 10, frowned. Aunt Rachel's going to be really mad. Aunt Rachel volunteered someone else's money, I said. That's a good lesson. Never do that. Sophie, 8, looked worried. But it was Grandpa's birthday. I know, sweetheart. I bought Grandpa a present. It's in the truck. We'll drop it off tomorrow, when people aren't yelling. Tonight wasn't really about his birthday. We drove home. The kids went to bed. My husband went to check emails for a project deadline. He works in logistics, long hours, steady income. I sat in the garage and waited. 14 minutes. Rachel's voicemail came first. A lot of yelling. Words like embarrassment, family, how could you? Then Mitchell. More controlled. Just as entitled. Marissa, I don't know what game you're playing, but you need to apologize. This was unacceptable. We're family. I didn't answer. Dad called last. Sweetheart, I don't understand what happened. Rachel's upset. Mitchell had to put the bill on his card. Call me. I didn't. Instead, I opened my laptop. Pulled up my business accounts. For locations. 47 employees. Strong margins. Growth projections my accountant kept calling aggressive. I built this. Without them. The next morning, I took the kids to Dad's house. Dropped off his present. A vintage tool set he'd wanted for years. Cost me $1,200 and months of searching. Dad answered in his robe, coffee in hand, looking older than he had the night before. Can we talk? He asked. The kids waited in the truck. We sat in the living room. Same furniture. Same photos. Mitchell's graduation framed and centered. Mine tucked in the corner. Your sister's very upset, Dad began. I imagine. She says you embarrassed her. She embarrassed herself, I said. She volunteered my money. She made up a promotion. She tried to guilt me with Mom. Dad stared at his hands. You could have just paid. It was my birthday. Dad, I said quietly. That bill was $6,380. She invited 12 people, half strangers, to the most expensive restaurant in the city, and expected me to pay. When's the last time anyone in this family helped me? Silence. When's the last time Mitchell asked how I was doing? Dad shifted. They have busy lives. So do I. But nobody notices because I'm just the mechanic. I never said that. You didn't have to. The room felt heavy. Finally, Dad said, I don't know what you want. I want to stop being treated like the family fallback. Like the one who should be grateful just to be included. He looked up. Is that really how you feel? Every gathering, I said. Every comparison. Every joke. My work matters, Dad. Even if it doesn't look like Mitchell's. He swallowed. Your mother loved you. I know, I said. She was the only one who asked about my day. My voice cracked. I miss her. Me too. I stood. Happy birthday. There's a present in the hallway. And I left. 3 weeks passed. No calls. No texts. I assumed they were talking about me. Being the topic of gossip hurt less than being invisible. Then one Tuesday afternoon, Mitchell showed up at my shop. I was in the third bay when Danny poked his head in. Boss, he said, someone's asking for you. Mitchell stood in customer service, business casual, looking around like he'd landed on another planet. This is bigger than I expected, he said. I didn't respond. Can we talk somewhere private? I led him to my office. Modest desk. Family photos. A window overlooking the shop floor. He sat without asking. How many bays? 12. He swallowed. Dad told me what you said. About feeling like the charity case. And I guess, I never thought about it like that. Because you never had to. He glanced around again. Certificates on the wall. Licenses. A plaque from the Chamber of Commerce. You own this place? I own 4. His face shifted surprise, disbelief, then calculation. How long? I bought the first one at 22. He did the math. 16 years. 16 years of dinners where no one asked. 16 years of assumptions. Wow, he said quietly. What's the revenue? Healthy. More than I make. He exhaled slowly. Rachel's going to lose her mind. She doesn't need to know. This isn't about proving anything. It's about me living without being reminded I'm not enough. I never meant. You did, I said. He nodded. I did. He stood. This is impressive, Marissa. I couldn't do this. Thanks. Can we start over? Maybe, I said. But it starts with respect. Not pity. Deal. 2 weeks later, Dad called. Not angry. Just tired. Your brother told me, he said. Told you what? About your businesses. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me? A pause. Probably not. Exactly. I owe you an apology, he said. I thought Mitchell needed more guidance. You seemed fine. I needed you to see me, Dad. I see that now. Your mother saw it years ago. She told me I was wrong. His voice cracked. She was right. We talked for an hour. Not perfect, but real. Rachel never apologized. She texted once. Mitchell says you own multiple shops. Is that true? Yes. That was it. 3 months later, Christmas. Rachel suggested another expensive restaurant. I replied to everyone. We're hosting. Casual. Bring a side dish. Main course on us. Rachel didn't reply for days. Christmas Eve came. House warm. Kids laughing. Dad arrived first. Looked around. This is really nice. Thanks, Dad. Mitchell came next. Then Rachel. She froze the moment she stepped inside. How long have you lived here? 7 years. I didn't know you could afford this. You never asked. Dinner wasn't perfect. But it was real. After dessert, Rachel finally said it. I looked up your business. 47 employees. Awards. Why didn't you tell us? Because I didn't need validation from people who decided I was a failure. Silence. If I'd told you I continued, you would have asked for money. For discounts. For access. And I built this without that. Rachel stood. I think we should go. They left. Afterward, Mitchell said quietly. She's not wrong. We would have asked. I know. Dad cleared his throat. Your mother would be proud. So am I. That was 6 months ago. Rachel stays distant. Mitchell tries. Dad comes for dinner. And me? I'm still a mechanic. Still get grease under my nails. Still show up early. But I also own 4 thriving businesses. Employ dozens of people. And sleep well at night. Here's the lesson. People who truly value you don't put a price tag on your worth. And people who only see you as a wallet aren't worth carrying. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pay your share and walk away.